Good evening and welcome to the cabin at Ruby Hollow. Today our intention was to go out to Amish Country and film the Amish countryside with this fresh snow, hoping to catch some buggies and horses going through the snow. It's Sunday, and so of course there's no shopping. So we headed out and stopped for gas along the way in a small town. There was a sign on the corner near the gas station that said Quilt Show that way. And I said, Quilt Show on a Sunday? It's not Amish. So we headed over to see what it was all about. To our greatest delight, we found a beautiful quilt show taking place in the small town of Elroy, Wisconsin. And so what you're about to see is that quilt show. My impromptu and improv interview and discussion with the ladies. They're the most gracious women.
We're at a gas station about 10 miles back. Fortunately, LG is driving with me today, and I'm able to take these side trips. So let's go on in, see what they have to offer.
So I'm here at the Royal High School in Elroy, Wisconsin, and I am brought here simply by a road sign that indicated there was a quilt show. As I came into the building, this is what I found. I'm overwhelmed with excitement about learning about these quilts and why these women are here presenting them. There's a story for sure. So I'm going to take you through and hopefully I can get some information regarding each one of these quilts and the maker and a presentation. So, and she is, tell me your title, Jane, if you don't mind.
I'm a longarm quilter.
Longarm quilter.
I've been doing that for about 20 years. And quite a few of the quilts in our show are quilts that I've done because most of these are fairly local quilts. And so
I'm going to walk with Jane, and she's
right.
going to tell me about these quilts as we go past them. Now, is this a local quilt,
this
Jane?
is a local quilt, and Arlene Garvin's made this quilt for her grandson. He wanted a buck quilt because he's a hunter. And so she made the top, and then I quilted it for her, and we were both pleased with it, and so was he.
So Jane, is this done on the long arm quilt?
Yes, yes. There's fancy quilting in the edge, but because of the fabric, you cannot see it very well.
Beautiful,
okay.
beautiful. Good.
Yeah.
And what about this quilt, Jane?
This one, these blocks were made by guests of our quilt show that bought a little packet of this fabric to our raffle quilt. So this is a raffle quilt, and the blocks were made the year before last, and now we're raffling that off, and that'll be one today.
So I noticed some people are coming in and buying raffle tickets, and that's what they're buying. How much is a raffle ticket?
$2 each or $3 for $5.
$2 to take a chance to win these quilts.
This is a small town. The number of guests at the show is small, so the chances of winning this quilt are pretty high.
They're great.
Yeah,
yes,
they're
they
great.
are. I'm going to buy a ticket before I leave.
The second prize is this basket, and it's got about $300 worth of sewing things, fabrics, kits, and things like that.
All the notions you could want.
So if you win, you can choose. I want the quilt or I want the basket.
Okay. Thank you. And again, I'm going to stop for a minute. Is an annual event that happens this weekend, the Thanksgiving weekend, every year. And what goes on is they are exhibiting these quilts for you to see. Can someone come here and be part of this exhibition if they like, if they're from your group?
Oh, they can be outside our group. They can be from anywhere. And the quilts, I can be the contact person for the show to get an entry form, and there's a very small entry fee, and that's what helps us put on the quilt show.
Excellent.
And
I should let you know that Jane is doing this for me, all improv. This was absolutely a find for me today.
We're just making
we're
it
just
up
going
as we go
we're
along.
just improvising as we go. But tell me about some of these quilts, Jane.
Well, it's really fun to go around with people who maybe don't quilt or or I love to go around with a child that's a guest here and say, show me which quilt you like. And then, or they'll take me to one and I'll say, now, why do you like that one? And they'll tell me, and you hear some wonderful stories.
Excellent.
Wonderful stories.
Well, I can tell you why I like this one right here.
That's mine.
Is it yours?
Yes.
She did not pay me to say that.
Nope.
This is just the most adorable. I love the birds. I'm a bird lover.
Me too.
I am absolutely a bird lover, and everything about this quilt speaks to the birds in my yard.
The design is by
Jane.
I believe she's a Wisconsin woman or a Michigan woman, and so this was a pattern. I didn't make it up, but I sure added a few things
Wonderful.
in. Yeah, it's interesting.
And this is an intricate. This one looks very
It
detailed
is.
for a small quilt. A nice wall hanging here.
The variety is just so amazing.
I know that my viewers always comment on the patterns. Where did this pattern come from? And I think what I've found, Jane, and you can verify if it's true, the patterns are the beginning point, but each quilter adds their, is that correct?
Yes.
Your individual
the color
flair?
choices, and sometimes you change the pattern. A number of people like to use a pattern as a starting point, and then they'll take off from there and just have fun creating variations.
Well, here's something that's very familiar
That's
to
been
me.
going on with quilting for a long time is a starting point and then variations.
Here's something that's very familiar to me then too, starting point and variations. The appearance of these quilts hanging this way, laying on a table. The Amish like to do a little something they call quilt flipping. Do you do that
We call
here?
it a bed turning, and
A
it's
bed
the same
turning.
thing. And we have very old quilts and fragile quilts for the bed turning. These are too fragile to
Are these
hang.
antiques?
Yes.
Oh,
This one is probably 100 years old.
really?
Yes.
Tell me a little bit of the history of this.
This is Ron and Arlene, and they have been active in the quilt show since inception. Ron made all of these racks.
The stands. How wonderful.
Voluntarily.
Nice to meet you.
She's
to meet
making
you.
a YouTube
I'm making
video.
a YouTube video for you guys, and for myself, of course. There are people out there, thousands, 100,000 people that will like to see these.
Maybe we'll
these
have
quilts.
a few more attendees.
I don't ever go on YouTube, so I don't know.
Oh, you can see
You
our show. I'll show it to you when it's
Yep.
done.
I thought you didn't either.
She will now. Can you tell me about these?
Well, this is one of Arlene's quilts,
Arlene.
and at the show, the guests vote for their favorite in the large category, the medium category. We have 4 categories, and she has a blue ribbon because in this category, she got the
congratulations.
most votes.
Very nice.
For that.
Very nice.
Yeah.
And did you do the long arm quilting?
I did not. On
You
this
didn't?
one.
One of them
Okay.
that takes the least work.
Yeah.
That's funny.
You know, and that's the viewers are not sophisticated.
Yeah.
But if we have voting, they spend a little more time looking and thinking about the quilts. So that's why we have voting. It's not because it's a big competition.
I think
just kinda
what
fun.
people like about this quilt, in addition to the holiday season and everything about it, I know what attracts me: the substance, the color, and the presentation of this wreath and the truck in there, and kind of feels old-fashioned.
Yeah.
And I understand what you're saying. It's the fabric is centered in the middle, and then your piecing goes in around it. And again, I'm not a quilter, but I am understanding the concept more. And then adding these pieces make for a gorgeous
This is
quilt.
part of our pattern.
Right. And probably a lot of
a
this,
very-
I'm
very
going to
simple.
eliminate a lot of this up with a little music in there. I'm kidding. All right. These are absolutely gorgeous, beautiful quilts, and we're going to turn this
Are
way.
you doing your quilt turning today?
Quilt turn.
If I went out there, if I could maybe force it and spit and tear it out.
Thank you for, yeah, it's okay. Yeah.
And if I
Okay. I'm sorry, I interrupted.
No, that's all right.
This is
We're
an
good here.
example of quilts that
It's okay, it's all right.
that are donated overseas by the local Lutheran church.
Okay.
And so they were recruiting people to help make quilts that can be donated. And these are very simple quilts, but they're used not only as blankets, but room dividers and,
Beautiful.
you know, private.
Excuse me. This is an absolutely beautiful. It has almost an Asian flair to it because of the colors. It feels really sweet. It feels like a wall. See, Jane, I'm attracted to your work. Your beautiful work. But it does have an Asian
interesting
feel.
because people do, people have their own
Yeah.
ideas of what they like
Of what
and
they
what they
like.
don't like. And I lived in Asia for a little while.
You see, I sensed it with you. Yep. That's what happens with us old gals. We begin to sense these are all absolutely beautiful quilts. And here is tell me is this considered a log cabin?
It is.
It is
and
log cabin.
can be laid out so many different
So
ways,
many-
and this is a beautiful presentation of the log cabin.
Absolutely. And unique colors. I don't see these colors in quilts too often, but I really appreciate these are almost Mediterranean colors to me. Very beautiful. Very beautiful. Is that you again, Jane? Oh, it is.
Margaret Hummelback of Boston made the quilt, and you know, I didn't do all these quilts,
Nope.
but because I live here and the quilt show's here,
Yep.
I see a bunch of quilts.
And look at this. You're fabulous. This is Jane again. She is
I
quite.
saw that. This is a panel fabric. I saw that, I think, in Paducah a couple of years ago, and I said, if I ever find that fabric, I want to make something with it. And I found it
And where did you find the fabric?
online.
Online.
Very nice.
Another variation of
Isn't
the.
that interesting?
Yeah, very, very nice. And my viewers will say, Rose, go slower. Go slower.
Well, they can come next year.
And that's what we're going to
can
encourage.
go
We'll
slow as they
encourage. Yep. Okay. So this certainly has been a bonus find for me. I'll be back next year myself to see how you're doing here, and probably bring
Weekend after Thanksgiving.
the weekend after Thanksgiving every year here in Elroy, Wisconsin. At the name of the school is
Elroy Middle School.
Elroy Middle School.
And,
Very nice. Sorry guys, I'm going a
You
little
can
fast.
find the address online.
I'll put a link in. I'll put a link on this
It's
video.
called Royal Middle School.
Royal Middle School.
ROYALL.
Okay. I'm gonna let you be here, and I'm gonna walk down to this next group of women. But I'm going to just take a quick shot of all of you guys at the table, and I'm not going to ask names or any of that. But thank you, Jane. Thank you all so much. What fun! I found another quilt show at the Royal. Is this the middle school? Middle school here in Elroy, Wisconsin. And I just finished talking with Jane.
Mother whose son was serving in Iraq and she was a nurse and she was a quilter, had a very vivid dream of a young man sitting on the side of a bed in a hospital in utter despair. Fast forward in her dream, she saw him wrapped in a homemade quilt, and she felt she had to do something about that. So she that year awarded 3 quilts that she called Quilts of Valor to injured servicemen that were injured in Iraq. 20 years later, 359,000 quilts have been awarded to service men and women. They can be active military or veterans. And we are the members of the Elroy American Legion Auxilliary, and we started by sewing camouflage quilts that we sent to deployed troops. And when that slowed down, one of the quilters in Elroy encouraged us to go to National Sew Day, which was in February of 2020, and we got hooked. So now, 3 years later, we've awarded 75 Quilts of Valor to
75 Quilts of Valor.
to veterans in our area. We've gone to homes, nursing homes. We've been to a tavern to award quilts.
I'd go to a tavern to
We've
award
been to
quilts
the-
if I had to.
I've been to the University of Wisconsin Stevens Point, my alma mater, and awarded quilts.
Is that your alma mater in Stevens Point?
Excellent.
The Sparrow's Nest in Sparta, we awarded quilts.
Now, are these all of your quilts here?
This one is ours.
And tell me about this one.
This one,
Tell me the name of the quilt, first of all.
I didn't name it.
Okay, I'm going to call you right now, America the Beautiful, Liberty.
I called it a scrappy quilt, but I was informed by quilters that it's a string quilt.
It's a string quilt.
It's a string quilt.
Interesting.
So a cousin had sent me a bunch of little samples of fabric that she had, and I matched them to the panel on the inside and just kind of designed it from there.
That's really nice.
So the
really beautiful.
individual little squares, the fabric is sewn to another piece of fabric. And
Will
then
this be donated?
this will be awarded as a Quilt of Valor.
A Quilt of Valor. So, how lucky we are to have you. Beautiful. And this is longarm quilt, or is this
It was long quilted by Jane Weiss
by Jane? Yes,
from Birdsong Quilting.
Yep.
She
Excellent.
she does not charge us for quilting when it's Quilt of Valor.
She's beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. Thank you, Mary.
And then our other quilt is this is the Quilt of Valor out of Boston.
Boston.
So that'll be awarded to a veteran.
And I like the red, white, and blue theme. Absolutely beautiful.
A Quilt of Valor doesn't have to be red, white,
Nope.
and blue, but that is well white. But a Quilt of Valor cannot be given as a gift or a retirement gift. It has to be awarded in a ceremony.
Excellent. And when does that ceremony take place and where?
When we get when somebody nominates somebody, our state coordinator assigns it to the group that's closest to that person, and then the veteran needs to be called to make sure that the veteran wants the quilt and will receive the quilt, and then they set up a date between the two of them.
Absolutely beautiful.
Our last awarding at our hall was for 5 veterans on Veterans Day.
Okay. Thank you, Mary.
Thank you.
I have never been so excited in my life to meet this group of wonderful women. Quilters for sure rock.